Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, Professor of Physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're looking at the week of March 23rd this time around. Pretty good moon week. The moon gets a little bit more offensive for our observing later in the week. So some of this stuff is better earlier in the week. Later in the week, as long as you're late enough at night, you're okay. The moon starts about 1/3 full at the beginning of the week. By the middle of the week, 25th into the 26th, the moon has filled out to half full, just over half full, and it passes about 5 or 6 degrees above Jupiter. Jupiter, we've been tracking. You got Castor and Pollux, the two bright stars. Jupiter's the brightest object in the evening sky other than the moon, so it's the big bright dot of light that you see out there. The moon will pass above it on the 25th into the 26th. When it's half full, the moon sets somewhere just this night, just past half full, somewhere around midnight or a little bit after midnight, especially since we've moved our clocks forward. You'll see the moon setting sometime just a little bit after midnight. So it's a good dark sky, even midweek after midnight. You're okay doing observing of the faint galaxies in Virgo we're going to talk about. The next night, 26th into the 27th, the moon's about 2/3 full. And when it's about 2/3 full, it's going to it's past Jupiter, and it's going to go right over the top. It's going to occult a relatively bright star, 3.6 magnitude Kappa Geminorium. So it's going to go right over the top. Don't start any later than 11 o'clock observing this. You can see this with your naked eye probably, but the moon that bright tends to want to wash out a star that's that close. So your best bet's to use binoculars. And starting at 11 o'clock, watch that star disappear behind the moon on the 11 o'clock on the evening of the 26th for me. That 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time in the United States. So that's where I am. You can adjust that for wherever you are. 27th into the 28th, the moon is about 3/4 full, and it grazes the Beehive Cluster M44. Get out and see if you can see the Beehive Cluster with your binoculars with the moon. But the moon's starting to get pretty bright for an object that's that close. By the 29th into the 30th, the moon, that's the end of the week we're talking about, the moon's 90% full. Starting to get really hard to do any observing of the stuff we're talking about. So by that time, we're done with the faint object observing we're going to do this week. The moon that evening, as it gets dark, just as it gets dark on the evening of the 29th, the moon will be pulling away, for me, where I am, depends where you are in the world, but where I am, the moon will be pulling away from Regulus. It'll start about 3 degrees from Regulus. Is the bright star in Leo, at the base of the sickle of Leo. And so you'll be able to see a nice pairing of those objects there. We've been tracking Jupiter moving next to 44 Geminorium, 6th magnitude star. So you need your binoculars to see 44 Geminorium and Jupiter. Jupiter's actually going to move from one side of it to the next side of it this week. So this is a great week to track the motion of Jupiter relative to 44 Gem. It gets pretty close. It gets 1/3 of a degree. Remember, your finger out at arm's length is 1 degree. That angle's about 1 degree, and it's 1/3 of that is the distance between 44 Gem and Jupiter at its closest approach this week. So great week to just watch Jupiter every night with your binoculars. Again, biggest, brightest dot of light in the sky other than the moon. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, it's spring, and in the spring, 2, 3, 4 times when we do these things, we got to talk about galaxies because this is the time to see galaxies. We live in a spiral galaxy. There's 2 types of galaxies, ellipticals and spirals. Ellipticals, they come in 2 types. Dwarf ellipticals and giant ellipticals. Giant ellipticals are the biggest galaxies there are out there. And so some of the biggest, brightest galaxies we want to look at are these giant ellipticals. And spirals are in between there. Spirals have these flattened shape, these flattened disks. And we live in a spiral galaxy with a flattened disk. It's a beautiful place to live because there's all this free dust and gas in the disks of spiral galaxies that makes new stars. New stars that are heavy blow up quickly and make more new stars. And so this is stellar neighborhoods where stars live their lives is in the disks of spiral galaxies. A few other places, but it's the main place we want to talk about. Elliptical galaxies lack that free dust and gas, very little star formation going on, very little evolution of stars, very little of this. And so elliptical galaxies are quite different. And we see these all around. We live in a spiral galaxy with lots of dust and gas. It's hard to see through it. We need to look up through the flattened part. If our galaxy looks like this, right? We need to be looking this direction or this direction if we're living right there. If we try to look that way or that way, there's just too much stuff for us to see very far. This direction we can see a lot of stuff, and we can see out into deep space and see lots of other galaxies, and we just happen to be looking at Virgo and Leo in this direction to be able to see all these galaxies, but there also happens to be a galaxy cluster in Virgo, the Virgo supercluster of galaxies. So there's just lots of galaxies here. I've been caught many times telling my students, you take a small telescope and you point it anywhere in this region of the sky and you can't keep from hitting a galaxy. And so that's why we're going to look at some of these galaxies and see which ones you can see and which ones you can't see with whatever telescope you have. So we start with Spica, the bright star at the base of the Y of Virgo. So the Y looks like that. That's the right side. There's the left side of the Y going up there. That's your Y shape, a martini glass, I often call it. Spica, you get to Spica, the handle of the Big Dipper arcs to the bright star Arcturus, and then you spin on down to Spica. Just follow that curvature around and you hit Spica so you can find Spica. Go up the left side, the east side of this Y, and the top star is Epsilon Virgo, let's call it. Epsilon Virgo. It's a nice bright second magnitude star. I don't think I wrote down exactly what it is, but it's a 2 something magnitude star that's up there. And if you start right there and you hop over 2 3/4 degrees, remember your finger's about 1, so about 3 finger widths across into the interior of this Y shape, you come to NGC 4733. And then you also have NGC 4694. One's an elliptical, one's a spiral. Fun to think about, and that's about another 3/4 of a degree on over. So you hop in here 2 3/4 of a degree, another 3/4 of a degree, and maybe a degree up, you come to 4672 is an elongated elliptical. This elliptical's round. So ellipticals are cigar shaped, but if you look at it end on, it's going to look round to you. If you look at it this way, it's going to look like a long slash of light, and you can see the difference between 4733 and 4762. All of these are relatively bright galaxies as galaxies go. You can probably see these galaxies. If you've got dark skies and you don't let the moon interfere, you can probably see these galaxies with a 4-inch telescope. And maybe even smaller sometimes. 6-inch telescope is going to start to show them better, and an 8-inch telescope is going to show them really well. So if you've got an 8-inch scope or a 10-inch scope or a 12-inch scope, you're in business here, and you want to go start hopping around and trying to find these things. So again, a nice tight group, a low power eyepiece, a 40 millimeter eyepiece if you've got a Schmidt-Cassegrain like I've got, a 12-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain. The 40 millimeter eyepiece, you're going to be able to see all 3 of these in the same field of view maybe. And you can start to then raise the power and try to see more structure in them. So now, if we start at Epsilon and we go 4.5 degrees over, so we've gone twice as far into the interior of this Y shape. You go 4.5 degrees over, you come to 3 relatively big bright galaxies you can probably see. In dark skies, maybe you see them with binoculars. I don't know. I don't think I ever have. But a 4-inch scope is going to show them pretty well. 6 or 8-inch scope, again. An 8-inch scope is your ticket to these galaxies, if that's what you got, or anything bigger. You got M60, M59, and M58. So 4.5 degrees over to M60. It's another half a degree or less to M59, and 1 degree to M58. So these two you can get in the same field of view with your low power eyepiece. Again, probably not M58, but you just need to scan over a little bit to get M58. We've got elliptical, spiral. So these are the galaxies for you to check out. Those are your biggest, brightest galaxies of the week. Whatever telescope you've got, whatever sky you've got, see if you can find those and enjoy that view. But let's look at what's near these things. Some of these. M59, for example, the second galaxy in. M59 is about, M59 has about a half a degree up and to the, so north and to the west of M59. There's 2 spiral galaxies, NGC 4607 and NGC 4606. They're separated by 3 arc minutes. That's 20th of a degree. So they're going to look almost right on top of each other to you. And so you want to get a wide power eyepiece, wide field of view, and see if you can get all 3 of these galaxies in the same field of view. Then if you want to toggle over to those and raise the magnification a little bit and see if they don't fade away into the background, see if you can see a little structure in them. Again, 12-inch scope, really great to do this. 8-inch scope is going to work for you, I think, if you got dark enough skies. So that's some galaxies you can see. This is what we're doing. There's so many galaxies in this region of the sky. We're seeing how many we can see in one telescope eyepiece field of view at one time. Let's go to M60. M60, this has gotten so crowded, so many galaxies. M60 is right here. It's got NGC 4647, a spiral right on top of the M60 elliptical. It was 3 arc minutes, basically, 2.5 arc minutes that separate those. So you're going to look for a faint spiral galaxy right next to that big elliptical galaxy. any of this stuff is great for pictures. If you're taking pictures of the sky, you're going to see beautiful stuff with these galaxies. And then you hop down maybe just an eighth of a degree. So all of this is still in the field of view. You've got 4647 4647 that's right on top of M60. 4637 and 4638 are just a little short eighth of a degree down. They're going to be in almost any telescope eyepiece field of view. Go down and west. And so look for those galaxies. See if you can see all four of those galaxies at one time. And just a half a degree down from M60 is, these are spirals. These are all spirals in here now. Half a degree down from M60 is 4660. And 4660 is also a spiral galaxy that maybe, if you have a wide enough field of view, you can get that galaxy in there too and see all five of these galaxies at one time. You might have to drop down, but this is your chance to just very slowly move around and see what you can see with these galaxies. Great time to observe galaxies. Best at the beginning of the week when the moon is doing interesting stuff with Jupiter and Kappa Geminorium and all of that. And we're watching Jupiter move next to 44 Gem. And then as the week wears on, it gets harder, but if you were looking later and later at night, you can still see some of these galaxies. As always, everybody, thanks for watching, and we hope you have a great week ahead.